the deep recesses of one's mind, there is a voice, a guiding light through the darkness, a connection to the other side.
You're ready to wake up, you're going to wake up. And if you're not ready, you're going to stay pretending that you're just a little, poor little me.
A pathway to spiritual that echoes with enlightenment. The voice of spirit.
The voice of spirit.
You are a function of this total galaxy, bounded by the Milky Way, and that furthermore, this galaxy is a function of all other galaxies.
Your journey starts here and now. With your host and connection to spirit, Leo Bonomo.
Hi, very, very warm welcome to Kcor Radio, the voice of spirit. And I'm Leo Bonomo. And we have a lovely guest on today, Jean Salch. And she does Reiki and different types of healing. And she does offer many services, classes and workshops as well. Like most mediums or sensitives, she's seen things since she was very young and been very sensitive to the natural energies around her. She's also taken part in Inca ceremonies with a Peruvian shaman named Juan Núñez de Prado. I hope I pronounced that properly. My Italian's really bad. And yes, anyway. And this was hosted by the Dream Change Coalition. She's also received initiations by another shaman, Fedi Quispe Singona, and she's attended these and many different sacred sites in Peru. She's been volunteering in International Distance Healing Network since 1998 as well for general requests and emergency healings. She's a member of the Vermont Reiki Association and a Karuna Reiki master and teacher. So she's very experienced. She also does sound healing, which is something else that we'll get into. So before we proceed with that, if you would like to donate to the show to help keep the show going, then please do so. You can find the donate button on the site. And if you would like to read my book, Summerland, you can get it on Amazon. That will be fantastic. So having got some of that out of the way, hi, Jean, how are you?
Hi, Leo, and thank you for allowing me to come to your show.
It's wonderful to have you as a guest. One of the first things I want to do is give out your website, which is Jean of Divine Healing. So that's all one word, JeanofDivineHealing.com, jeanofhealing.com. I've done a very brief sort of introduction to you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, how you moved from seeing things as a young child and progressed from there to the Reiki.
Okay, well, it actually started with a car accident that I was in, and I happened to find a brochure on Reiki. I tried it, and I really liked it, and I really connected with the woman who was teaching it. So I decided to go all the way, which I did. And it's really exciting because when you learn Reiki, you want the whole world to feel wonderful as you're feeling in that, from the experience. Yeah. And you just want everyone to know about it. But then from there, I proceeded to learn Karuna Reiki, which is a higher form of Reiki bringing in sound. And then from there, I took some sound healing classes, so that I could really fine tune that. But then how I ended up, and I'll tell you this briefly, how I ended up studying with the shamans in Peru was I was meditating. This was after I became a Karuna Reiki master up in the mountains at the Sunray Peace Village, and a voice said, and I know it was the spirit of the mountain, said, Jean, we want you to study shamanism. And I'm sharing this part on purpose for your listeners who might struggle with finances. My first response was, I'm a single parent with 3 children. I would need the support for to take care of my children. I would need the finances. and all that to unfold. And Leo, when you really let go and trust, everything was taken care of. And it was. I've been to Peru 7 times.
Wow. It's I actually met a Peruvian shaman as well over here. There's a little place called Clop Hill, about 20 minutes, half hour from me, and I'll talk a little bit more about that then. For those that may not know, give us a quick rundown on what Reiki is and then shamanism.
Right. Well, Reiki is light hands-on touch or above the body if the person does not want hands-on. What happens is the person giving Reiki attunes to Reiki. Reiki energy comes into the crown chakra, and then the energy flows out of the hands. But Reiki can also flow out of the mouth, through sound, through the eyes, and through the bottom of the feet. And what it feels like is, this is what I've had clients describe to me, that it feels like you're floating on a gentle cloud that feels nurturing and supportive, but yet very powerful. Yeah.
It's I did Reiki 1 myself, and I found for me that the way healing came through me as a channel was very, very similar to Reiki. So I took the decision at that point that I would just leave it at sort of level 1, the basic introduction. But I know that it works, and you can feel, and if you're able to see, you can see and sense the energies as well. Tell us a little bit about the shamanism.
Okay. So what I would, if I was doing a shaman healing on somebody, we would do soul retrieval, any type of healing, but I might use my drums, I might use my rattles, I would use sounds and crystals. I would also use those instruments in Reiki also. Shamanism, you get into more of going through all the different levels of their soul's experiences for the soul retrieval. What I do is, I haven't done just one modality on a person in so long that I just mix it all up together. Sometimes I will end up just doing shaman, drumming on someone. But it is just as profound. And before I studied and learned about it, I had some shamanic healings and soul retrievals done on myself. And it's all about basically permission, honoring, and respect for mutual parties, the person that you're working with, and, of course, yourself. And that also goes along with Reiki. I have high integrity standards when it comes to my work, because that person is allowing me to work with their mind, body, and spirit.
Absolutely. And like mediumship, you have to be absolutely honest in your intentions, and have that integrity as well in working with that person, because it is a great responsibility, isn't it? It's I kind of liken it sometimes to a surgeon just doing some work and either really taking care or thinking, this is the 2000th time I've done this operation. We'll just bung it together and the patient can go. And it's the difference between that, isn't it? We have a lot of responsibility as light workers.
I agree with that 100%. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Which is one of my practices, Leo, is after I do a healing on someone, because my healings will continue working for 3 days. And I will check in with them, whether it's an email or a text or a phone call, whatever works best for that person. And I will just check in and say, how are you feeling? Where are you at today? And it's not done as a pressure because I want them to come back. It's done because I genuinely care about how my healing causes and affects you. And I genuinely want you to release whatever it is that is holding you back or that you're struggling with. And Leo, not all people come to me because they have a pain or an emotional baggage issue. Some people come because their gifts are opening and they don't understand it, or they don't trust it, you know?
There's a lot of that awakening, and it was initiated in a much bigger way in 2012, and 2012 was about a shift in vibration, and it moved up several levels, and so it was quite a jump. And skeptics used to say, it's all about the end. They corrupted the information, basically saying this is when psychics, so-called, have said the world's going to end and all that rubbish. But in a sense, it's the world as we know it ending. And I think to an extent, religion as well, because as people have woken, as you've said, some have been quite amazed. I was working in a friend's shop for a little while doing some readings, and this Irish guy came in, and he wanted to talk about what was happening to him. And he said to me quite frankly, look, I don't believe in all this rubbish. I am a complete skeptic, but I'm seeing things, I'm hearing things, and it's scaring the crap out of me. And so we talked about it, and I explained to him what was happening. So for some people, I wouldn't say it's an unwelcome intrusion, because spirit don't intrude in that way, but it's such a change from normality for them. It's like watching a black and white TV, and that's all you've ever grown up with. And then you see colour, and it's like, wow, there's so much information here. This is brilliant. Everything's flowing and it's multicolored and there's rainbow. Oh my God. And I liken it to that, from going to black and white to color. And some people are absolutely amazed, and it's like a little confirmation of hints they'd had. But quite a few have been like that gentleman, don't know, don't want to know, don't believe, that's it. And then their world changes overnight, in a good way, of course.
Yes. I love how you put that, Leo. That's beautiful. I love how you put that.
Oh, bless you. And 90% of the time when I'm working anyway, it all gets channeled. So it's I'm doing the talking, but it's not me, if that would make sense. I'm not that clever. I'm just a tiny little cog.
We are all clever, but yet we allow our divine higher self and the divine realms to flow through us. And can I just bring up religion for just a second, because you brought that up? I was raised Catholic, okay? And then I recovered from it, and
I love that, because I was brought up Catholic as well and recovered from it. I don't want to offend any Catholics out there or any other people that are religious, but it is like a disease, isn't it?
Yes, and the reason why I had to recover, and I'll just throw this out there, is because I don't think I need to talk to a priest if I want to talk to God. I believe I can talk to God straight to God. And the same with Jesus, if I want to talk to Jesus. But the reason why I asked you if I could bring this back up is when first Krishna came to channel through me, and then it was Kuan Yin, and then it was Buddha, and then it was Chief Red Cloud, and then it evolved to Mother Mary, and then Jesus and Moses and Abraham. And I kept questioning, I know all about you, but why are you all coming through me to want to channel, right? And they said, because it's time for the people to know that we all work together, and that religion has separated them, and really it's not about religion. That part of my path of working with them is to help people know that, sure, if religion helps you find that divine spark within you, perfect. It doesn't matter how you get there, as long as you get there, because everyone has the aspect of God in them. Everyone has the Christ energy in them. You know, everyone has gifts and abilities. I'm sorry, I got on a flow.
No, that's fine. I love it when people kind of suddenly get connected and it starts channeling, because I've said this before, and I was saying this to a lady that I read for today. In an ideal world, we wouldn't need mediums, because everyone would be open. Everyone, to an extent, would be self-healing, and we wouldn't need the middleman, the medium. And essentially, that's how it should be. Now, I know, speaking for myself, it's quite idiotic to want to put yourself out of work. But I think if everyone could connect, this world would be such a beautiful place. It wouldn't change everything, of course, because it's a learning place. But yeah, it's you know, if we all get to that level and all the light workers do their work, and we'll peak, I think in probably 20, 30 years time, the whole place will be different, and we'll all be accepting of this as genuine found knowledge, and we can give each other healing, and the whole planet would be just wonderful, I think.
I agree with you. I am beginning to witness some heaven of earth experiences, but I also believe that before I leave the house, when I'm going out, it doesn't matter where I'm going, I always take a few moments to make sure first I'm grounded and balanced. But then I set my intentions to be in the place of humble grace, but also a beacon of love.
Absolutely. You know, the Beatles said it very well, and you know, well, John Lennon in particular, all you need is love. And that is it. I mean, in a sense, that is the beginning and end of what spirit say to us, isn't it? There is only love, and from that flows all that information, all that power. It's acceptance, not surrender, but it is a kind of surrendering, just letting it flow and just going with it. And as you say, once you go with it, wonderful things happen.
Oh my gosh, Leo, I'm sure you have a million stories. I have a million stories too, and it's amazing. You know, a couple of years ago, I was drumming in this pine forest, and the message was, we want you to go to the Florida Keys and do something that will help Mother Earth and humanity. So I actually ended up doing my first Be the I Am You Were Meant to Be workshop in the Keys. But before I left, and this is the truth, it was 2 days before I was going, I had $60 in cash in a Ziploc bag of change. And my housemate said, Jean, I can give you my credit card to use, and it's got $300 on it, right? So that's all I had. And I live in Vermont, and it's a 30-hour drive, right? One way.
Oh, yeah.
So but I have this faith, right? Because it's come, but I share this because I really want people to hear how important it is. And 24 hours before, a woman contacted me and said, Jean, you're going to the Florida Keys. Will you pick me up in Maryland and drop me off in Orlando? I will pay for the gas, get us a hotel room, buy us dinner, and pay for the toll.
Wow.
Yeah, so that got me down there. I mean, actually, what I ended up doing was going down in the water and replugging the mother crystal back into the crystal grid of Atlantis, which was really powerful and amazing because the fish started jumping and the birds were singing. It was a pretty cool experience. But then I was on a road trip once that I had to be somewhere at 5 o'clock, and Archangel Michael said, Jean, don't leave the house for 4 more hours. And I said, oh, this person's going to be really upset if I'm not there at 5 o'clock. So I waited 2 hours, right? And then I said, that's it. I'm out the door because I know she's going to call me and complain, right?
Yeah.
I got 10 minutes from her house, Leo, and I got into a car accident.
Wow.
And Archangel Michael said, Jean, if you had waited the 4 hours like we asked you to, you would have avoided this and you would have arrived at 5 o'clock.
Wow. Yeah.
So I felt, Leo, that it was important to share that too. Because a lot of people don't pay attention to their inner self-guidance.
Absolutely, because sometimes, like in that very eloquent example you gave, it's not logical. Why make myself late? And all these things sort of come into it, but it is important that we listen. And I think as we listen more to our inner voice, which is there for protection purposes, essentially, then we can achieve an awful lot more. And it's wonderful how these things manifest around us. Spirit used to say many years ago, give up work, do the mediumship thing, we'll take care of you. And it's a really scary thing to think, it's bad enough if you're on your own and you give up work and say, God, now I need some way of getting supported. But when you've got a family or anything else, and I'm not talking about myself, but it's a really scary thing to just accept. But it works. It is something that so many people, we're conditioned, aren't we? Especially in modern day, we're conditioned.
Oh, yes. We get conditioned even when we're in utero.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, we do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you know what, Leo? I had that experience happen to me when I still had my 3 children in the house. And I'll tell you this super fast. I was working for a boss, mainstream job, that was bipolar. And I had this thing going on with my eyes. And the next day, I was supposed to leave work an hour early to see an eye specialist. And it was so bad that my eye doctor gave me his home number. Okay, that's how rapidly my eye kept changing. But it all had to do with my gifts, and that's another story. But anyway, he called me in his office, and he said, if you leave an hour early tomorrow, and now he's screaming at me with his finger in my face. Okay, that's how close he is, okay? Just to give you that visual. And he says, you'll be fired, right? Now, my programming from growing up was you don't quit a job until you have another job lined up, right?
Yeah.
So I walked out of there and I said to one of the managers, I said, I quit. I said, and I've never quit a job.
Jean, we're just going to go into a break and we'll be straight back after this.
It's important. Yep.
Yeah, we will. Absolutely. Absolutely.
This is the voice of spirit, your connection to the other side.
To understand something spiritually, you must experience it. And in order to experience it, you have to experience it in your imagination.
Explore with us by calling 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230.
Give us a call now.
Worldwide callers use Skype name Kcor Radio.
Everything that now exists was once imagined. Therefore, everything that is going to exist must first be imagined.
Back with your guide to spirit, Leo Bonomo.
Leo Bonomo.
After these brief words from our sponsors.
Hi, Vancouver. George Norrie here, inviting you to join me and producer Tom Danheiser on June 30th at the 4th Annual Architects of the New Paradigm Conference. This will be a groundbreaking, jam-packed event featuring Stephen Bassett, Grant Cameron, Richard Dolan, Daniel Sheehan, Johnny Enoch, and Victor Vigiani. You don't want to miss this one, so watch the 3-minute video and get tickets at anpconference.com. That's anpconference.com. anpconference.com.
Dear John, uncontrolled high blood pressure is serious, and I can quit whenever I want. But when I quit, you quit. Sincerely, your heart.
To get your high blood pressure to a healthy range, visit heart.org/blood pressure. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
Thursday nights are about to get weird on the Kcor Digital Radio Network. Join hosts Timothy Beckley and Tim Swartz as they go exploring the bizarre. Jet across the cosmos with two of the most electrifying paranormal researchers in the known universe. Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. Exploring the bizarre takes you deep within the world of the unexplained. UFOs, ghosts, lost worlds, cryptozoology. It's time to take back the night with hosts Timothy Beckley and Tim Swartz. Exploring the bizarre. Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. Only on the Kcor Digital Radio Network.
This is the world-famous KCOR.
That's the only station I listen to.
Indoor baseball, anyone?
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Incoming message.
In a digital world infiltrated by government as well as civilian disinformation, a single, powerful, and researched voice speaks through the night.
We're getting a signal.
Join Erica Lukes, the host of UFO Classified, as she interviews some of the hottest, sometimes controversial, but always informative people in the world of ufology and the paranormal.
They knew for sure that it was an alien craft, and our governments around the world have covered it up.
The reason I was taken aboard was because there was no choice. I would have been dead.
UFO Classified, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, every Friday night. Exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. The truth is out there just waiting to be discovered. But the question is, are you ready for it? UFO Classified, hosted by Erica Lukes, the new voice of the high desert. Exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network.
Welcome back to the Voice of Spirit, your connection to the other side.
There's no accidents in this universe. We all show up here with a purpose. There's an intelligence that is a part of everything and everyone, and all of us are connected to it.
Connect with us on Twitter by using hashtag KCOR. Even better, join us live in our chat room at kcorradio.com. To get a free reading during the show, call 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230.
Give us a call now.
Worldwide callers, use Skype name KCOR Radio. And now, inspirational clairvoyant medium, psychic, and your connection to the spirit, the host of the Voice of Spirit, Leo Bonomo.
Hi, welcome back. We're talking to Jean Salch, and who's a Reiki healer, sound healer, amongst other things. And so really enjoying the talk that we're having there. If you do want to donate to the show, then go to Kcor.com and you'll find a donate button and you can donate to the Voice of Spirit. So thank you. Hi again, Jean. So please carry on, because we were discussing something really interesting before the break.
Okay, because I feel this is important for people to hear. So I left his office and I said to the other manager, I quit, which I've never quit a job before. But in my left hand, the boss has control over my health. In my right hand, I have control over my health. I am choosing to take control over my health. Mm-hmm. So I left, and they were all in shock, of course. And I had never done that before either. So then I went to my office, and I'm laying on my table. And another fellow practitioner walks in, and she starts having a loud meltdown on me. How dare I quit when I have a mortgage and I have 3 children? What's the matter with me, is how she went on, right?
Mm.
So I said, I had to take control. So anyway, the next morning I went down to the Board of Education and I signed up to be a substitute teacher, thinking I'll just toss this in there until I find a job, right?
Yeah.
Well, the next day they called me to sub. The next day they called me into the assistant principal's office and offered me a full-time position, and which I was making $4 more an hour and working 8 to 2:30 instead of 9 to 5. So look how I got blessed. So I tell people, when you let go of that fear and really like take that leap with that grain of mustard seed, if you want to bring that into it, we're always blessed. I've talked to people who are in abusive relationships, and I tell them, if you can just self-love and self-worth enough to get away and break that, and I'm not saying it's a piece of cake and easy to do, but if you can make those steps, the universe blesses you abundantly.
Absolutely, it is that leap of faith, and you've just reminded me, because as well as the book which I channeled Summerland, I also write poems, and I'm just going to find a poem because it's literally about that. So I'll look for it, and we'll have it after the next break. So that's interesting, because that is also about that fear of letting go.
Well, yes, and Leo, as you know, in your own with your own gifts and experiences and adventures, that some people they fear the gifts, because of the unknown, or maybe because of religious upbringing, or maybe because of past life being witch trials or the persecutions during the crusade.
Absolutely. I don't remember readings unless there's something for me to learn. And I was doing a reading for a lady, and sometimes our spirit take over, and it went to a past life. And I was saying to her that I can see her on the edge of it's like a valley, but she was on the edge of the cliff, and there was someone behind her. She either had to jump or she was going to get pushed, and obviously that was the end of that particular life. And when I was telling her what was happened, she went, "Oh my God, I've had this unfounded fear of heights. It's not vertigo, but I've had it since I was very, very young." And a healing kind of took place at that point, because it broke that fear. She then understood it, and the I was going to say, that word's been taken away. The logic, or the not making logical sense, just went away, and that kind of disappeared. I've actually found, if you don't mind me reading this, Jean, that poem.
I want to hear it.
It's got a title and a subtitle, and the title is Sacrifice, and the title is the subtitle, The Poem That Changed a Life. And it describes really what you and I, and I'm sure many other mediums, have gone through. And I'll try and read it in rhyme if I can. Into this bottomless pit I go, the fires of hell burning below, of my own free will and own vocation, stepping forward, one man, a nation. Yet will my faith suspend me there, holding, caressing in midair. There's only one way to tell. I must step forward into hell. I must go forward, take a chance. Only then may I see the devil dance, or be suspended as from a tree, protected by love for eternity. For faith must bear hard scrutiny, yet faith, I hear myself say, is for those who cannot see the way. For those that have proof daily should sail through life gaily. What faith is therefore needed when spirit truth is firmly seated? Great courage then is what I require to lift the soul and body higher. Has he not promised to fulfill my needs as I carry on his deeds? So into this chasm I go, watching the fires far below. And as I view them from this height, suspended, protected by this light, I'm sure all along I know it was right. Why did I question? Why did I fear? It was my work alone that brought me here. To reach this point, it all seems so clear. And yet I know when in mid-throw, the human part will always see oblivion, not eternity. It's spirit's part to overcome, no matter the odds, how bad the sum. Did not our Lord walk on water? And so could we, his sons and daughters. He's told us so many times. He tells the truth, he never lies. So over the precipice I go, and to hell with what's below. And really, it's about that courage, you know, as you say, of saying, damn it, that's it, job's gone, I'm doing something else. It does take courage, doesn't it, to literally, in that sense, leap off a cliff into what's really a brighter future, but all we can see is the darkness, isn't it, below, the human part of us.
Yes, I agree with you. We agree on that, Leo, and thank you for reading that. That was an amazing piece of writing, and really you summed up so much. And you're right, a lot of people are afraid of that leap of faith. I asked a person once, how come you're not open to healing when it's obvious from conversations that you've had so many childhood traumas, right, that hold you back? And and then one day I said, because a light bulb went off in my head, and I said, you're afraid of the unknown, aren't you? That's why you're afraid, because you're so used to being a victim.
Yeah.
And if you let go of that, you won't know what to expect. And he looked at me and he said, you're exactly right. And I'm not judging that, because I can only speak for myself. And, I want people to know that those of us that had our gifts opened earlier, before the harmonic convergence or before 2012, it has not been an easy ride for us at all. And especially because me growing up in the 60s and 70s, I didn't have anyone that I could talk to about this stuff, and the people today in the world have such an advantage because it's all over the internet. It's in every bookstore, library. You know what I'm saying, Leo?
Yeah. Absolutely, and I've said this many times on shows. People think because we have a gift, especially if we can talk to spirit, then we get all the advantages of we're going to get warned when this is going to happen. We're going to be warned about that person. We don't. If anything, we are completely blindfolded because we have to learn the hard way. Some people get a bit of an inkling and they know they're getting in a situation and they carry on. I've found with lots of people that are light workers and very sensitive, the blinkers come on, you get no warning, it's just smack straight into it, and it's, oh my God.
Yes. But you know what? When I've learned over the years, Leo, and it took practice, okay? I've learned to take it with grace, to where now I can look up at the universe and start laughing and say, okay, this is going to be really painful, but I see the gift and the blessing.
I think that's the most important thing. One thing I've learned in life is that what often is a negative when you're in it up to your neck is actually a positive. And if we take it as a positive and we understand it sometimes years later and take that with grace, we actually learn. It's when we hold on to it, when we ingest it and suppress it, that also helps to make illness.
Exactly. And people don't, I mean, yes, we could include the environment and processed foods and all that stuff, but we won't talk about that part. Let's just talk about the person themselves. If they believe that on a conscious level, or even subconsciously, and they're not aware of it, you know, that, like, as an example, that they don't deserve that, that they don't deserve to have what the guy next door, the family next door has, right? If they don't believe that, then they're going to constantly block it. And then you're right. Then there's going to be organs or glands that are going to get sick. And then at the same time, they're clogging up their chakras and their meridians. And what I have found, Leo, is there's a lot of roots, but the main root is shadow ego.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. We've got a question from chat, Eve, and she says, "Can you tell me why I'm so scared of fire? Also, I'm totally out of sync right now. What can I do?"
Do I have permission to be completely, like,
honest? Absolutely.
Kindly honest?
Yeah.
Kindly, of course. The reason is because you have 16 different lifetimes. This is what I'm receiving right now. 16 different lifetimes where you died as a result of fire. 8 of them, you were burned at the stake. And there was a couple where there was, like, a fire that developed on a ship and then it sunk. But you got burned before you went into the water. And then the other few that are left had to do with, like, being in a structure, trapped, and dying in that. That's where that is coming from. The other answer to your second part is persecution programming from the Dark Ages. I hope this helps.
Yeah. Hopefully, Eve, that does help you. If I can, I've got someone come forward for you, Eve, and I'm seeing an image of someone from the shoulders up. So I know when it's the shoulders up, they're alive. So hopefully I'm describing you. But if I say that you have fairly straight blonde hair, it's at least shoulder length, maybe a little more. It is parted in the middle. It's a very, I was going to say plain style. I don't mean that it's not extravagant. Let's put it that way. Sorry. So that's what I'm seeing. So and I would say your face is oval shape. That's what I'm seeing. So if this makes sense to you, Eve, do let us know. But I also get that feeling of suffocating smoke and fire. And what I'm seeing is a building. I think something like Jean expressed. And there's just, what I'm actually seeing is you either having been tied to something, a chair, or tied to a post, but you can't get out anyway, but you're tied back. And I think the most uncomfortable thing about this is you can feel the heat. Usually the smoke would do the job and you would be gone before the flames get you. But I feel in this particular instance, you're not succumbing to the smoke, and so you're really beginning to feel the heat, and it's that I'm getting. So that's basically where it comes from. As Jean said, this is a past life thing, and I think as far as being totally out of sync now, would you understand, Eve, if I said that you are quite sensitive yourself? Because what I'm being given is lots and lots of energy being expended in all different areas. I know that you help people, but there are a lot of people around you. This is work as well as home that are taking energy from you, lots of it all the time. And this is why you're completely out of sync. So hopefully that would make sense. Do let us know, and do let me know if if I'm not correct or I've missed the target, certainly. But do let us know, Eve. Thank you so much. Right. What was I going to say? I was going to get back to something. So yeah. So have you any workshops coming up, Jean?
I have ongoing workshops, and I will adjust them if it's one person who's interested. Because in my training years ago, Leo, I was taught that it doesn't matter how many people show up for a workshop. And I'll tell you, listen, in a second, what's important is who shows up, because that's who's important. Whether it's 20 people, 50 people, or one person, you still teach that class, that workshop. My most popular class right now is Be the I Am That You Were Meant to Be. And it is a group workshop where we go in and we remove all past life interferences with your gifts. And I had one lady in Sweden who actually had an affair with a priest in a past life and ended up conceiving and had to give the child up. And I'm able, with the gifts and the masters, to be able to see what's going on with each person as I'm doing this. So, but then after that, we open up DNA strands and open up the divine master codes in your chakras, in the electrons in your brain, and get them turned back on. And I pull out the pin in the back that opens up your wings. So, and besides, Reiki and Karuna Reiki and, shamanic training, I share the I Am one because that's like the most popular right now. Though I have had recently a couple of people contact me for Reiki classes, which is exciting because I love teaching Reiki.
Fantastic. So if people want to get in contact with you, you can go to www.geneofdivinehealing.com, and there's ways there to work out where you can attend the workshop.
Yes, and also if somebody wanted to schedule a personal healing with me, I can do it over the phone, like how we're talking right now, like as if you're on a regular phone, or we can video video call, or in person. I have lots of people around the world who contact me for healings, and if they went to my website, there are tons of testimonials for hands-on healing and long distance and the healing water. May I tell you about that, please?
Yes, I'll just mention before you do, we'll go into the break towards the top of the hour, and we're going to do some healing live, aren't we? You're going to give me some healing, and there's a meditation, etc. So just thought I'd mention that. So yes, go into that, Jane. Tell us what you were going to say.
Okay, I'll touch on it real quick, and then we can pick up after the break, like fresh. As a vessel, I place my hands over your water. So anybody who's listening live or later in the archives, just put out your glass of water or opened bottle of water. I place my hands over your water. The divine sacred energies flow through me. We cleanse the cells of your water, infuse them with divine God cells. Now, this has nothing to do with religion. Christ conscious cells and blessings. Miracles have happened with this water. This water has the same healing properties as the St. Bridget well in Ireland and the water in Lourdes, France. Wow.
That's great. I've got some water here, so that'll be absolutely fantastic. It's I think the two things which are quite remarkable with that, we are, I think, 90% water anyway. But it's interesting that you sort of heal that way, because The bark remedies, and I'm sure you've heard of those, is where you dilute down, so you get 1/1,000,000th of whatever you put into it. And memory has Walter. I need my memory fixing, Gene. You can do that after the break. Water has memory, and so it remembers that shape, if you like, of whatever's put in it. So it's interesting that there is that you have a similar effect with what you do. I firmly believe that's where the indoctrination of being baptized came from. Because it was, and so, you know, and again, it's been misrepresented and changed because so much of it was hearsay, and the closest thing we got was sort of 30 years after. So it's all kinds of Chinese whispers and you know, politicized as it was. But I do think that that's where the original baptism come from. So
well, you know,
fascinating.
It's interesting that you bring that up. I'm sorry for intruding, but I want to jump in on that before you have to put us on break. I also do anointings on people, and I do agree and work with the water in the person's body also. And for a while, I was thinking, because, you know, until we figured out that I had to have somebody actually, you know, like a baptism type of scenario. And my guides came in and they said, no, Jean, sure, if they can be standing in water, that's great, but they don't have to be. All I have to do is put my hands on the sides of their heads, connect, and blow into their forehead.
Wow.
And I've done that with a couple of people. And what it does is just, they feel the divine energy, first of all, just like ripple through them. And they become more attuned to their conscious self. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, that sounds great. It's just perfectly timed for a break, so we're just going to go into that and we'll be back straight after this.
You've been listening to Leo Bonomo, the host of The Voice of Spirit. Live every Thursday, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. For more information on the show, guests, and host of The Voice of Spirit, or to book a private reading, please visit leo-bonomo.com. That's leo-bonomo.com. Your connection to the other side is just a phone call away. The Voice of Spirit.
It is amazing, is it not?
This is KCOR Las Vegas, home of the Digital Radio Network, broadcasting from a shack just south of Area 51.
Wait, that doesn't exist.
This is the KCOR Digital Radio Network. Now for the news.
In the deep recesses of one's mind, there is a voice, a guiding light through the darkness, a connection to the other side.
You're ready to wake up, you're going to wake up. And if you're not ready, you're going to stay pretending that you're just a poor little me.
A pathway to spiritual that echoes with enlightenment. The Voice of Spirit.
The Voice of Spirit.
You are a function of this total galaxy, bounded by the Milky Way, and that furthermore, this galaxy is a function of all other galaxies.
Your journey starts here and now. With your host and connection to spirit, Leo Bonomo.
Hi, welcome back. If you do want to donate to the show, go to www.kcorradio.com and find the show, The Voice of Spirit, and hit the donate button. Welcome back. We've got a lovely lady, lovely healer, Jean, with us tonight. It may be tonight, it's evening here. And we're talking about all kinds of energy and healing. And we had something from Eve, and we got a reply from her, and bless you, Eve, for the reply. And she was asking, how can she stop this leakage of energy or close down? So would you like to talk a little bit about that, Jane? How would you do it?
Okay, well, how I would do it is, first, I would make the commanding statement that no one is allowed to drain off your life force energy. And it happens more easily when we really care about the person. The other thing I would do is, if you're interested in learning this, is pretend that you've got 3 black hula hoops, yes, hula hoops, floating on the right-hand side of your body. The first hula hoop comes up, and as it scans down you, because you're in the center of it, it will light up all those cords that are sucking and draining your life force energy. It passes your feet, it goes up to the universe, changes back into love. The second hoop, as it comes over your head and scans down your body, cuts all those cords away, passes your feet, goes up to the universe, turns into love. The third hula hoop, as it scans down and cuts those remaining cords, adds protection as it fills in those holes in your auras, and he rips and he tears, passes your feet, goes out to the universe. We recommend 3 sets of 3. That way you know that all draining cords are completely disconnected from you. Then pull in your aura to at least maybe 6 inches, maybe 12 inches, whatever you're comfortable with. And bring in that pure divine golden energy and just wrap yourself in it and have it spin to where you are completely encased in this divine protection. And, you know, like when you're rolling up a ball of yarn, how, it goes around. And that's what I mean. So, Leo, whatever you'd like to add, go ahead.
I would do it myself a different way, and it's we all have different ways of working. But I would see the chakras, and I would see them close down, and it's the opposite from opening up. We open from the bottom towards the crown chakra. So when we need to protect, we'll close from the crown all the way down. Let me know, Eve, if you know what the chakra or chakras are. If you're not entirely sure, I can go back through that. But we see them close one at a time. And then what my guides have always taught is to see myself inside a giant eggshell. Because eggs are permeable, the chicks can breathe oxygen through them, so it's not suffocating in any way. Place yourself inside a giant eggshell, fill it with brilliant white light. Often that will change. So if you need healing or you just need calming down, you'll get a different change in the light, in the color. And that's perfectly normal. So that's fine. Another quick way that I would do it was see the 7 chakras as a door or padlock. And when we go into a bar, and I'm sure you've experienced this, Gene, you walk into a place and there's something really off. And what people that are not trained do is they try and find out what it is they don't like. It's a bit like a handshake. And that's the wrong thing to do. So if you feel that there's something not right, I always clap my hands. There's 2 reasons for that. One is it breaks the energy, but also if you clap your hands or just rub your thighs or something like that, nobody knows what you're doing. And the reason for that is you're doing something mechanical. So if you don't feel right, clap your hands, see that door slam shut, and then place yourself in an eggshell. And the reason that is done as a kind of emergency, if you like, is because if there is something there, it will try and infiltrate your train of thought. So you'll lose your place when you're trying to close chakras or anything like that. So we do that very quick. Takes no thought. It's an immediate action, and we close down. So hopefully that has helped you. We've also got a question here I really don't understand, and it's from Partisan Party gluten. Um, it says, is 4D and 5D the size of the warheads? I have no idea what you're talking about. So if you would like to elaborate on that, yeah. Do you get any sense of what this person means, Jean?
Well, not exactly, but from what I have read here and there over the years, that the fourth dimension is more of a dark energy space. So maybe that's what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Especially when they brought up the word warhead.
Yeah. It could well be. I know that scientists now, and there was one, Stephen Hawking, which died, passed over recently, and he's very much a skeptic. So it's quite amusing to me to think of where he might find himself and suddenly realizing that he's wrong. But he admitted that scientists have found up to 19 dimensions so far. I'm sure there are many more, but he admitted to knowing or believing certainly that there were at least 19. So, and I'm sure they all have different frequencies as they would, etc. But yeah. So if you can explain a little bit more about what you mean about the fourth dimension and fifth dimension, and the question, if you want to rephrase it, we'll certainly look into it. Jean, you're going to give me some healing.
Yes, I would like to, and I will speak, what I'm where I'm at for in each moment, so that we don't go silent. I'm just going to stand up. So what I'm gonna do with you, Leo, which I've already prearranged with you, is I'm just gonna quickly go through your chakras and all the layers that are connected to each chakra, and that will include all your organs, all your glands, all your meridians, all your systems. Like your digestive system, circulatory, muscular. You know what I'm saying, right? Yep. And the right and left side of your brain, so that everything is clear and divinely reconnected with your higher self, your God self, okay?
Yeah.
So I have a quantum tool, and it's really funny because I was given this quantum tool 16 years ago, and then I used it for a while, and then I forgot about it, and just recently in the last couple of years remembered about it. So I'm plugging, you know how that goes.
Yeah.
So I'm plugging now into your Earth star, and as I'm plugged in, I'm in the front and the back of your Earth star, which is 10 inches below your feet. So now I'm going to blow Creator God's breath into your Earth star. I'm going to plug into the front and back of your feet chakras and then blow. I'm plugging into the front and back of your root chakra. I'm plugging into the front and back of your sacral. I'm plugging into the front and back of your navel. I'm plugging into the front and back of your solar plexus. Plugging into the front and back of your spleen chakra. Plugging into the front and back of your heart chakra. Plugging into the front and back of your throat chakra. Plugging into the front and back of the center of your head, which includes your third and fourth eye chakras, pituitary pineal chakra, God elixir in the center of your brain. front and back of the crown chakra, front and back of the bas chakra, which is 10 inches above your head. Plugging into your monad, front and back, your God Self chakra, 2 feet above your head. Wrapping you now in divine love and light. And you can open your eyes when you're ready.
Thank you. That was quite remarkable, because when you started at the first chakra, I could feel a coolness under my feet, and my feet starting to tingle slightly. And when you came to my feet, I got the same sensation at my ankles. And as you worked your way up, and especially as you got towards the crown chakra, there was a build-up of spiritual energy. So when you sit in circle and you're opening and you're working, you can get a very, very cold sensation around the legs. And as you were doing that and getting higher and higher, it came up to just below my heart. Everything was icy cold, which was a really nice sign, because it shows there's a lot of energy there. So that was really, really interesting. My feet are still cool, which is I like that, because when I demonstrate and we sit and open up, my feet tend to get icily cold, and they're cool. So considering that I was open already, a good sensation. Wow, very, very interesting. Very interesting.
Thank you for
and
allowing
enjoyable.
me to do that. May I also offer, before we do the water, can I offer one more gift to you that you can share with the listeners?
Absolutely.
I'm also one with White Buffalo, and together we share, with your permission, of course, divine love seeds. Now, I can blow them into your heart chakra, but if we were standing together in person, I could also offer hugging you heart to heart, and which is the opposite way that people normally hug. And I hug that way because then our physical hearts also touch. Would you like this experience? And then you can share this with the listeners.
Absolutely. Yes, that'd be wonderful.
And it only takes 20 seconds. Or no, less than that. I'm sorry, 10 seconds. Okay, here we go.
Wow.
Should be arriving now.
What was really interesting about that is there was a take up of that call, and then it went very pleasantly warm. So I went from ice cold to what you might call normal temperature, and then very slightly warm. It's not a sensation I've ever had before. So there is something lovely that's working there. But I've got this, I always feel peaceful 90% of the time, but I've got this real sense of peace that's coming with that. So that is fantastic. And I'm sure people, as they heard this live, and if they can just get into a nice meditative state, or, just mellow, I'm sure can feel that. And I know it's something that people will probably want to download on the archive and just listen to that bit again, because it is quite sensational. I've got an answer, because while I was there, my guide was having a little chat with me about this fourth and fifth dimension. To give an example, you could be in a 10 by 10 foot room, we used to talk, or we talk about heaven being up as though it's up in the sky or up in space. It's not. All the dimensions occupy the same space. And the reason we call it up, it was a very simple explanation, is because it was up or higher in vibration. And that's where we get our notice of it's up there, or lower vibration, hell. That's where we get these notions of they're up or they're not. So to have a 10 by 10 foot room, to give an example of that, you could easily have 50,000 spirit people in that space, because time and space doesn't work the way that we here physically understand it. So hopefully that is an explanation that makes sense to you. I find it a little odd that you're saying the size of warheads. So there's obviously something else that you're talking about there. But for everybody else, hopefully that would give an indication. Time and space is not what we perceive it to be. We have a fraction of it here, and it's an altered reality. I think, as you said, Jean, this is real for us here. This is our reality, but it is a dream. I think you said it was a dream. Yeah.
Well, and what's interesting when you think about the realities, right? Because there's many realities, as we've mentioned. There's many dimensions, and there's many realities of each one of us. Example, there's a reality of me, Jean, who went left. Then there's a reality of me, Jean, who went right.
Yeah.
And so on and so on. You know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And
I agree with you that there is no time and space man-made time.
Yeah, we need that.
Clocks.
Yeah, we need that order, don't we? And our notion of time and segmenting the year really came from nature, came from crops. And the altering weather, and that's where we got our time from and our perception of time. If you think about it, time is a curse, because when we heed it too much, we're in the rat race, aren't we? It's just, oh my God, I've got to get up, I'm late, I'm stuck in the jam. There's all these perceptions which cause lots of stress.
And there can be a lot of pressure on someone when it comes to time. And I let go of that. I really did, because I'm always on time for an appointment, unless, of course, there's something that comes up like a detour on the road, that you can't help. Yeah. But I let go of that stress a long time ago. In fact, I did a blog talk show a couple of years ago on time, because I found when my mother was deceased, my mother had 10 watches.
Wow.
That tells you how intense she was with time, right? Or restricted.
Absolutely. And anyway, when people talk about incarnation or incarnating, we have somehow this fixed in our mind that when we pass over and we come back, that we'll obviously come back in the future. And that's not correct at all. And my guide explained to me about time, and he said we can use the Earth, if you like, as an example. But it says if you've got a sphere, you can pick to reincarnate anywhere on the surface of that sphere. So, we could choose the USA, we could choose Hungary, we could choose Australia. So we can pick that. And if you imagine a line going right the way through, and that line is what we would call a timeline. So we can pick any country and we can go back to, before Roman times, up to date, in the future. And so we can pick anywhere on the surface, and we can pick anywhere along that particular line, because time and space have no real meaning. in spirit. And so when we want to incarnate, we can incarnate the next time into a Tudor period, if you like, or that time, but in Australia as an Aborigine, for example, around the 1500s. So to me, it was a beautiful way of explaining it. And I find that even complex things can be explained quite simply by spirit. But it takes away that notion of, we die now, we'll reincarnate, 20 years' time or whatever it might be. Fantastic. We've got a couple of minutes, about a minute actually, before we go into the break. And we'll come back. We'll see if we can get an answer from Partisan, although we'll see what they make of it if they come back. But we'll talk a little bit more about your work and some of the shamanism, because I wanted to talk about an experience of a Peruvian shaman that I had here, and it was a wonderful experience. So we'll be talking a little bit about that. We will be straight back after this. We've still got 30 seconds. It's talking about time. It just gets lost so easily, doesn't it? So if you want to donate, then you can go to kcorradio.com and look up Voice of Spirit and click the donate button. Also, if you want to find out a bit more about the afterlife, then you can do much worse than read the book Summerland, dictated completely by spirit, written by automatic writing, and you can find that. It's by myself and it's on Amazon and it's called Summerland. So we will be right back after this.
This is the Voice of Spirit, your connection to the other side.
To understand something spiritually, you must experience it. And in order to experience it, you have to experience it in your imagination.
Explore with us by calling 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230.
Give us a call now.
Worldwide callers use Skype name KCOR Radio.
Everything that now exists was once imagined. Therefore, everything that is going to exist must first be imagined.
Back with your guide to spirit, Leo Bonomo.
Leo Bonomo.
After these brief words from our sponsors.
"1 Million Miles Till Midnight." A story of timelines, artificial worlds, simulated races, and the galactic imprint, and the destiny of a blue world called Earth. 1 Million Miles Till Midnight, written by Solaris Blue Raven, is a journey through the mind's eye which allows the reader to surf a wave of technological and multidimensional intellect, revealing a bridge between conscious design and the truth. A multidimensional bleed-through awakens the world of artificial intelligence to set sail into the frontiers of a vast multiverse, morphing planets and terraforming ascended worlds beyond the linear programs of a fated race. 1 Million Miles Till Midnight will awaken, inspire, prepare, and enlighten one to the many multidimensional states of consciousness and worlds we reside in. With every cell and atom, we are this truth and multiverse. 1 Million Miles Till Midnight, written by Solaris Blue Raven. Available now at Amazon.com and GlenNT.com. Don't wait. Get your copy today.
That's good.
Turn your radio up.
I love it. All the music I want to hear.
This is my station.
Hi, Vancouver. George Norrie here, inviting you to join me and producer Tom Danheiser on June 30th at the 4th Annual Architects of the New Paradigm Conference. This will be a groundbreaking, jam-packed event featuring Stephen Bassett, Grant Cameron, Richard Dolan, Daniel Sheehan, Johnny Enoch, and Victor Vigiani. You don't want to miss this one, so watch the 3-minute video and get tickets at anpconference.com. That's anpconference.com. anpconference.com.
Friday night, 9 p.m. Pacific. Jump onto the Celestial Highway and travel at the speed of light. Into hyperspace. Hyperspace. Hosted by Solaris Blue Raven. She navigates you through the cosmic tides of mysticism into the world of covert technology, UFOs, mystical sciences, and the world of unforeseen forces.
You get to really sort of enjoy a bizarre ride.
Listen live, Friday night, 9 p.m. Pacific.
For Hyperspace.
The one show that blows the whistle off our government black ops projects. Hyperspace. Hosted by Solaris Blue Raven. Exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network.
Want to take a ride?
Welcome back to the Voice of Spirit, your connection to the other side.
There's no accidents in this universe. We all show up here with a purpose. There's an intelligence that is a part of everything and everyone, and all of us are connected to it.
Connect with us on Twitter by using hashtag KCOR. Even better, join us live in our chat room at kcorradio.com. To get a free reading during the show, call 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230.
Give us a call now.
Worldwide callers, use Skype name KCOR Radio. And now, inspirational clairvoyant medium, psychic, and your connection to the spirit, the host of the Voice of Spirit, Leo Bonomo.
Hi and welcome back. And again, if you'd like to help keep the show going and you want to donate, please go to the site and click on the donate button for Voice of Spirit. And if you do want to learn more about the afterlife, then do have a look at my book Summerland. It has the extraordinary, I didn't know this was built into the book, but it has the extraordinary effect of opening people up and beginning their development. And many people, when they read the first edition of it, told me that they saw their mum, their dad, and people that had passed over that they were connected to. So it's not mine. It's spirit that have done that. But if you want to experience the book and perhaps open up yourself, fantastic. We've got Jean Salch here, and we're going to go and do another meditation, aren't we?
Yes, when you're ready, Leo, and we'll just do it for like maybe 20 seconds or so, maybe 30 seconds. So if everyone could just please close your eyes and allow your mind to just go silent for just a few seconds. As you are gently breathing, please know that you are breathing in pure, refined love. The purest form of divine love. Breathing in divine love. Exhale gently, effortlessly, divine love. Breathing in divine love. Exhale gently, divine love. Breathing in pure divine love. Exhaling divine love. With each breath, your cells vibrate pure divine love. Breathing in pure love. Exhale pure love. Filling all your body, all the layers of your aura. Gentle, sweet love. Pure love. Breathing in love. Exhaling love. When you're ready, you can open your eye.
It's very calming. There's a kind of melody to your voice, which is really, really nice. I find that sometimes the best healers, certainly, although mediums heal by talking as well, but the best healers and the best mediums, they do, a lot of them have a certain quality to the voice, which is really nice. And I take that as a good sign, because of course it is sound as well, isn't it? It is vibration.
Yes, and thank you for bringing that back up. I'm channeling right now. Because as you know, and we agree, that sound is very powerful and very profound in an effective way.
Yeah.
So when we are speaking or singing or chanting, we are creating with those words through the tone of our sound. So especially, like, let's say a song, for example, if you're singing a upbeat, positive song, then whatever words you are expressing as you're singing, you're creating. If you're singing a negative song, such as, violence, such as a broken heart, then you are also telling the universe as you're singing that that's what you want to allow.
Yeah, I truly believe that, because rap music, for example, there's a guy on the web, and he's a very, very spiritual guy, and he does spiritual rap, and I can't think of his name, but it's a wonderful thing. But a lot of rap music has a lot of violence, gang associations, that kind of thing. And here's an interesting fact. The music called blues, because of the particular notes giving off colour, it gives off a lot of blue colours. And that's why we describe ourselves, or used to anyway, as being down. We're saying we're blue. It's because that gives that same intonation of colour. And so certain types of music have very different vibrant colours with them. And as you say, sometimes it can be very dark and pulling down. There's an old song. It's called, oh God, I think it's called Bloody Sunday or something like that, by a very, very famous, and so many suicides have been connected with that song. And I firmly believe it's not just the words, it's the music, it's the vibration. It does something to link into that level with some people. I think it's Billie Holiday. My guides just said Billie Holiday, so hopefully that's correct. So music is very, very powerful, isn't it? And because it's connected to colour as well, it's strange that in the mental homes or the asylums, certainly years ago, not that I've been in one, but all the walls are painted grey. And we get that, I think that disorder is called SAD, isn't it? Seasonal associative disorder or something like that. And if you think about it, it's absolutely the worst colour, to not cheer people up. And they change them now, and they use different colours, and they notice a difference with people. But sound, colour, they're very influential in our lives. And I think what you do with sound, and water as well, as we know it's programmable, I think it's a wonderful combination.
Thank you. It's really funny how I actually started doing that, because I really want to offer water healing for people, and all they need is a glass of water or a bottle where it's open. And even if they're listening to this later, what will happen, I already explained what I put into it, But you'll notice that if it's warm, it might be cold. If it was cold, it might be warm. The water, the temperature might change. The taste will change. It might taste more crystal clean. It might taste like lemon, salt, flowers, metal. And even if it does, still drink it, because your higher self knows what you need. And that's what's going into everybody's water individually. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I think it's vital, because not only do we need it to survive, we can go without food, I think 3 or 4 weeks before we expire. But water dehydration, it's much less, because we are so much water. So I think the correlation between what you're doing, sound as well, there's a wonderful kinetic energy in it, my guide has just said. So I think it's very, very interesting. I know there are some people use crystals as well, don't they? And they drop them into water. And obviously crystals are a very natural energy. But I think it's wonderful that you have worked in this way to change the element of water in a bark remedy style thing. I just find that fascinating. I learn something every day, and I've certainly learned a lot tonight. And for that, I thank you,
Leo. I will be. Thank you. I'm honored by your words and blessed, and I feel that I will be learning until I take my last breath, and then we'll continue in my next body. But bringing back to the point that we have water within us. Actually, I think men have a little bit more water. I think men have like 70 to 80%, where in women it's a little less percentage of the water. And if you think about it, right, if a child is raised with supportive, healthy love, right?
Yeah.
Then that means that the water within them is going to carry that energy, which is going to affect their organs, their glands, their internal systems, Christ, even the function of their brain, right?
Yeah.
And then if you take someone who grew up being told that they were nothing, they were worthless, all negative words, then the water within them is going to hold that memory, and of course, it creates, other things besides health, but it can also, I think, also have an effect on deteriorating the brain.
I think yes. I agree with you, because my guide was standing here just nodding as well. And it's fascinating, because they're experimenting now with Alzheimer's patients, and they realise that music itself, which is of course vibration, is greatly helpful in either reversing to an extent, but also preventing Alzheimer's building up. And it's I've just got the reason I'm pausing there is my guy's just showing me, if you get a hot plate and it's heated up and you drop small drops of water on it, they immediately form circles, or most of them, and they bubble and they fizzle and they run around. And he was just showing me that, and I was trying to figure out what the hell he was showing me.
He's showing you about the brain, what happens with Alzheimer's, right? Am I right?
I think what he's saying is that when you heat water in that way, it has its own vibration and it bounces about, and that's a connection, a kind of harmonic connection, because it does crackle and fizz as well, so it produces sounds. But that's something that does affect the brain as well. So I think there is a connection there, certainly with water. Yeah,
we just tapped on that. I'm making myself a note, because I'm going to go back into that later with my guides, because I do brain rewiring.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because, again, it happens with births. It's well known within the medical science that when the gravitational pull of the moon, when we have a full moon, there are more births around that time. And of course, the baby in the womb, it's not water, but it's a liquid, and that affects it. But we also get the word lunatics from the fact that when the moon is full and there's a gravitational pull, it affects the minds of those who are insane, which is why they say sometimes they'll howl at the moon. But that's where we get lunatics from, luna as in moon, and the effect that has on the brain. So there's obviously a very, very strong connection there.
Yes, definitely. I agree with that. I did a show once standing in the Atlantic Ocean, healing the water within. So, but let's do that before, we have to end the show here. So you have water also, Leo, right?
Yeah, I've got water here, nice glass here. Yeah.
And it just takes me a few seconds to do it. And please know that whoever is participating, that you will feel the effects from in 0 to 5 minutes, okay? Because everybody's different. I'm just going to put my phone down and place my hands over your water now. Here we go. You may drink the water, please. And it might take a few sips to notice the difference. I was on the phone once talking to some troubleshooting with my cell phone, and the woman said, "Oh yeah, I've got a cold soda here. Can you do soda?" And I said, "Sure, okay. I just don't like to do alcohol." So the soda was fresh, just opened, and ice cold. It went warm and flat.
Well, it's funny that you say that because I've got here. Oh, let me shake it up a little bit. It's not going. I think that's gone flat as well. I've got fizzy water because that's all that I drink. And I was watching my glass very carefully. It's on sort of, my desk is beige, and I was watching it, and it started to go very slightly milky colour. And this is a new bottle of water, and I drank it, and it wasn't fizzy. And as I've tried to open up the, it's called Highland Spring. It's sparkling water. As I've tried to open this here, I'm going to try and get it near the microphone. Yeah, you can hear that. But it's only after violent shaking. So that has kind of gone flat itself, but it went flat in the glass. So interesting experiment. Perhaps that is the way forward in the future for all of us to get some self-healing. It's there's a fascinating link there. I'm just having a word with my guide saying I need to look into it, and he's shown me a huge book which is probably 7 or 8 inches thick, and he's kind of waving it at me as though to say there's a lot more to learn about this. So I've learned an awful lot tonight. It's been very, very interesting, and I hope the listeners, as they replay this, will also begin to get some effects. It is my mind's just kind of fogging up now. You know, when it goes in all different directions at once. So I'm trying to think of keeping talking, but my guide's filling me in with all kinds of information which I'm not catching. So very, very, very interesting.
Well, why don't you you want to take a few seconds and see, in case it's something important, and I'll share the water story super fast.
Absolutely, you go for that, and I'm just going to, because he's just said to me, you think it's a coincidence that most of the earth is covered in water, which also got me thinking. So you go away, and I'm just going to have a little.
Okay, so I was in a pool in Connecticut, and the short end, and the friend that I was with went into the house for a few minutes. All of a sudden, I hear this voice, "Jean, I want to bless you." And I looked around and I said, Jesus? Because that was my first thought, right? And I have a playful, fun sense of humor. So then, and the voice said, no, it's John the Baptist. And I said, oh, okay. So I said, okay, sure, you can bless me. So I flustered and floundered because I'm a person that I have to hold my nose if I'm going straight under the water, right? Unless I dive in. Yeah. So I'm like, wait, you got to let me hold my nose. So he says, all right, Jean, go ahead, hold your nose, right? So I'm standing there. I'm only in 4 feet water, right? I plug my nose, and when he dips me back to bless me, only the back end of my head gets wet. I didn't even need to hold my nose, okay? So like a year later, he comes back and he goes, why aren't you blessing people? And I said, I didn't know. And then a year after that, he comes back and goes, why aren't you making healing water for people to drink? And I said, because you didn't give me directions. I always think that's a fun story, you know?
I like that. And of course, most mediums and healers agree that Jesus was a wonderful medium and, of course, healer. And it's just struck me as well that, of course, he was also a fisherman as well as a fisher of men. So there's another water connection there, and of course the loaves and the fishes, etc. So I'm thinking about things now in a completely different light. It's really sorry, so my guy's interfering here a little bit. He won't mind me saying that, but he's just showed me a beautiful colour, and I'm looking at it, and he says, "You haven't got it yet. It's aquamarine, the colour." And I'm thinking, "Oh yeah, water and marine water." So he's having a bit of fun at my expense here. Because I can be thick, you know, and he's just kind of going, "Oh, you know, look at my watch. He'll get it in a minute or two, maybe." so that is fascinating. I've got a shift tonight from 11 till 2 in the morning, but I know I'm not going to get a lot of sleep tonight because I'm going to be thinking quite extensively of what we've gone through. And the fact that to me now it's blindingly obvious, but of course that's the way things appear. That we are water. In a sense, we can control water, and we can use our energies because we use them with crystals. But we put crystals in, but we don't think of using our energy to change water. And it's wonderfully expressive of spirit. It's it's so blindingly simple that, like most ideas, you kind of go, "Oh, that's obvious," But it's a wonderful thing. You've opened my eyes in lots of different directions, and again for that I thank you. If anybody's interested, and I'm sure there are, you can get hold of Jean at www.jeanofdivinehealing.com, and it's all one word, and it's JeanofDivinehealing.com. Excuse me. So
can I also say that they can find me under Jean of Divine Healing on Facebook?
Yes, absolutely. Is there anywhere else that you are you on LinkedIn or anything like that?
Well, I am on LinkedIn and Twitter, but to be honest with you, I'm not there every day. I'm more on Facebook because then I can do live videos. So if they go over to my Facebook page, recently over the Easter, I did a talk and then a meditation, helping people connect with the God within them, the Holy Spirit within them, the Christ conscious energy within them. So then they'll find, like all kinds of things like that on that page also. I do have some, you can find me on YouTube under Gene of Divine Healing also.
Fantastic. I just want to say that this fizzy water, there are a few bubbles against the glass, but it has gone completely flat. And there is a slightly opaque, milky colour to it. It's very slight, it's very subtle, but it's there. So that change that I saw, we've got to go. We'll be back next week.
Thank you, Leo.
You've been listening to Leo Bonomo, the host of The Voice of Spirit. Live every Thursday, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. For more information on the show, guests, and host of The Voice of Spirit, or to book a private reading, please visit leo-bonomo.com. That's leo-bonomo.com. Your connection to the other side is just a phone call away. The Voice of Spirit.
It is amazing, is it not?
This is KCOR Las Vegas, home of the Digital Radio Network, broadcasting from a shack just south of Area 51.
Wait, that doesn't exist.
This is the KCOR Digital Radio Network. Now for the news.